railroad has been essential to the development and identity of the United States, serving as a crucial means of transportation and a symbol of progress. Its historical significance is evident in the westward expansion of the 19th century, particularly with the completion of the Transcontinental Railroad in 1869, which connected the nation and facilitated the movement of goods and people. This not only boosted economic growth but also fostered cultural exchange, creating a shared American experience. In modern times, the railroad remains vital to the nation's infrastructure. Freight trains transport over 1.7 billion tons of goods annually, providing an efficient and environmentally friendly alternative to road transport. This helps reduce traffic congestion and lower greenhouse gas emissions, aligning with the growing focus on sustainability. Passenger rail services, such as Amtrak, further emphasize the railroad's importance by offering affordable travel options that connect urban and rural communities. This accessibility promotes social equity and allows diverse individuals to engage with different regions of the country. Moreover, the railroad industry supports millions of jobs and drives advancements in technology and engineering. As a critical asset in addressing contemporary transportation challenges, the railroad embodies the spirit of innovation and unity that defines the American experience. Its significance resonates in the lives of all Americans, linking them to their past and shaping their future.
I got David Coleman from Stow, Ohio, so he has since relocated. Hey, Dave, how you doing?
Great, Mike. Appreciate having me on tonight. How's it going, man?
Oh, doing real well. So, by the way, I want to give a shout-out there before we get going. Parker Daly, CSX Ohio Rail Fan Plus, he's listening to us right now, and he's kind of interested about what's going on with them tunnels over there in Baltimore, so I think you have some information. So, anyway, go ahead. Let's get started, though. How you want to start off?
Yeah, first off, I guess I'll address his question first. Number one, he has some great content on YouTube. Always liked his videos, and I think he does a really good job, with the content that he puts out there on YouTube. So really enjoy his stuff there. As far as his question goes, I know that they're detouring like a handful of trains over the NS between Philly and like Hagerstown, Maryland. So the trains are running like the Harrisburg line. It's all like ex-Reading territory they're running on.
Okay.
So some of the rail fans in that area, like there's a lot of guys on train orders that live over that way. Dale Woodland, there's a guy, Jim Schlegel, different guys that are really, there's a guy, Beer Train is his name on train orders. They really have good commentary on that. A lot of them live in that area. They've seen a lot of these trains. I know the M370 and the M371 are two of the trains that are detouring that way. I think they're running some coal trains too that way. The other thing they've been doing is the intermodal trains that go up to northern New Jersey that typically would run through the tunnels there in Baltimore. Those trains, the truckers have been taking the trucks the containers on trucks from northern New Jersey to Baltimore or vice versa, and then they're getting on a CSX train in Baltimore, getting off a CSX train in Baltimore, and then they're going down the coast to Jacksonville or wherever they go. So I think from what I understand, I was reading, I think the guy's name is Typhoon. He's a guy that's an employee for CSX. He was saying something on train orders the other day that the tunnel project will probably be completed like maybe late this year. So it's a big project. They've been detouring some. There's other trains that are detouring, like some of the lower priority trains have been running up through Sandpatch in Pittsburgh, and then they're getting on the lakes, like the line that goes along Lake Erie, like around Ashtabula, Ohio, and like some people I know in upstate New York have been seeing those trains, like the garbage trains and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they've been catching those. they've been catching those trains. I saw a couple of them when I lived in Pittsburgh earlier this year. I saw a couple of them like over by Neville Island and on that side of the river there, across from where I was doing a lot of my rail fanning on the NS back in Pittsburgh. So
Sure.
they're, it's a hassle, but once it's done, Mike, I think that project's going to look really nice. It's going to streamline things, up and down the East Coast. Hopefully it adds a little bit of traffic, on that line so they can compete with the trucks a little bit better on 95.
Yeah.
But we'll see what happens. It's going to be a cool project because that's been a line that, they should have done it a long time ago, getting the double stacks on that route.
Excellent, though. Yeah, that's what he was wondering, though, about them tunnels and stuff, though. He's wanting to see more traffic on the Newcastle line, so that's where I was today, though. We got a good handful today, so I got 2 episodes out of it, so.
Cool. Very
Anyway,
nice. Yeah, I look forward to that.
Yeah, I got to think here. Probably the 9th and 11th will be them episodes. You're speaking of rubbish trains, but I caught one in Homestead Falls the other day, and at least the garbage didn't stink so bad, so thank God for that.
Yeah, I saw one in Berea the other day, too, when I was over there at night, the 6:35. I saw one on CSX. It wasn't too long, but I did see one over in Berea. But there is a lot of news. It's funny you brought up CSX. I got probably the 2 big stories tonight. One story that just broke this week on Avon Yard in Indy. CSX is making major infrastructure upgrades at Avon Yard, one of its 5 hump yards, in a move aimed at enhancing operational efficiency and service for its customers. They want to extend the hump lead from 6,400 feet to 8,000 feet, along with other modifications designed to increase volume capacity and decrease dwell time. They say Avon Superintendent Jeff Exline says that they will be able to process up to 300 more cars per day. So it sounds like they're going to complete this by the end of the year, Mike. So I think this is a really good move for CSX. I always felt like since the Conrail breakup, that yard and that route going towards Indy and St. Louis just should be a little bit busier. I think you did an episode down there towards Marion and going towards, was it Bell Fountain, I want to say?
Yeah, I went up along that line. Started actually in Sydney, Ohio, over the aqueduct, and then worked my way up through Marion. So, I went through Bell Fountain, yeah.
Yeah, it just seems like that line should be busier than what it was. During Conrail times, that line was, I wouldn't say it was the busiest line, but that was where a lot of the trains, got on and off that Fort Wayne line, a Crest line, and they went around that connection track there, and they would get on the Indy line there, and that line was, much busier then than it is now. That line probably took a real beating because of the breakup, just traffic-wise. But I always felt like that line should be busier than what it is. Maybe all these upgrades, there will be a little more uptick in traffic, going that way. Because Chicago is already as busy as it is.
Yeah.
Why not? You got a lot of the same Western connections in St. Louis, and you got the St. Elmo connection, and they spent some money on that line. There's a connection track or a little yard even, and I think it's called Smithboro, Illinois, off of the St. Louis line on CSX. The BNSF and CSX have a little interchange yard there. So, to me, that ought to be where some of these trains ought to go. You don't have to send everything to Chicago and plug up that whole area, in Chicago, because there's been a lot of congestion issues, and we've seen all the issues with robberies and break-ins in Chicago because trains are sitting there.
Yep.
So, use this other gateway to the south, I guess the southwest side of your system, like Conrail did, and maybe this is part of the reason they're doing this. I don't know. It's just pure speculation on my point, Mark or Mike, but I think it would be something that I would definitely attempt to do if I was, the front office or the brass of CSX.
Wow. Okay. Excellent. Though. Wow. Oh yeah, you mentioned about improvements though around that Mount Victory. Yeah, they need big improvements. Some serious maintenance on them aqueducts. And there's just like big chunks are missing out of it all over the place. I don't know how many boulders of cement has fallen to the ground on the road down below and stuff, but not alone how many's in the river. It runs through there too. So wow.
Wow, that is interesting.
Well, if you look at the video though from Sydney, Ohio, though, you can see that there's big, huge chunks everywhere gone. Where it just literally fell off. So, and I think the date went back to 1912 or 15. I don't know. In the video, the date is on the video, so I think I zoomed in on it. So that aqueduct's pretty old. All right.
Yeah, that sure is. Yeah, that's that was back when it was probably called the Big Four Railroad there. Yeah, that's really old. Wow.
Well, there's two aqueducts through there too, so I didn't know. I thought there was only one because I remember Jawtooth though is down there though, but I found out there's actually two of them.
Interesting. Yeah, that's really interesting. I have never been there, but yeah, that's interesting how much like lack of maintenance there is on that.
It needs
the other thing that yeah, it really does. It sounds like it. Yeah, that could be a real hazard there and a dangerous thing. But you know, another topic that was big in the last few weeks on CSX. This is something no one really saw coming. There back when Hunter Harrison and all his people like kind of went in with the hedge fund that they had, and they kind of got involved heavily with CSX. They you know, decided now the new people that are involved with CSX decided to establish a pool of conductors and engineers that run between the North Jersey intermodal terminals and DeWitt, which is about maybe just under 300 miles, and DeWitt is in Syracuse, New York. Then there's another pool between DeWitt Yard and Cleveland. That's another 300 miles. I believe this is what this post says. They only apply to certain intermodal trains. So I confirmed this with a CSX source a couple weeks ago, Mike, a woman that's worked for the company for many years, and she said to me that that it's mainly the hot intermodal trains, and there's certain trains, intermodals, that don't use this. But what this has done, Mike, it's really eliminated Selkirk and Buffalo from the pool of intermodal trains for most of the traffic. So these crews now are coming from different terminals, and then the Cleveland, after the crews get off in Cleveland, they're going to run a straight shot to Chicago, which is going to be really interesting because that's not exactly a 5-minute trip. So that'll be really interesting to see how this all plays out, Mike, because if you know that whole territory these trains are taking from Chicago to the northern New Jersey, especially in the wintertime, this is right in the heart of the lake effect snow belt. You know from your time growing up in Ohio.
Oh, yeah.
I've lived in Ohio and New York and Pennsylvania. There's a lot of snow that you can get, especially that second tier. There's that that middle trip between Syracuse and Cleveland. I mean, Mike, you can get walloped with snow through there in a lot of areas. And I say this, they better keep those crews in Buffalo active, and they better have plenty of relief crews for the winter because I'm sure there will be some trains, especially these long trains that are running on these railroads now. Batavia Hill is no picnic to go up in the winter for westbounds between Rochester and Buffalo. And then just that whole stretch between Buffalo and Cleveland is very, very close to the lake. I mean, they don't run right on the lake, but you can see the lake at times on that line, and you can really get hit with quite a bit of lake effect snow. So it'll be interesting to see how that works out with this whole thing. And like this, my source at CSX, she was telling me that it's really like basically the UPS trains, and there's some of them will fuel at Collinwood, she said, some will not. So again, this is the problem with these railroads now, Mike. They do all this stuff, and a lot of these companies are not in these areas. So like you and I and the railroads might know a lot about this, or the people who work physically on the railroads might know a lot about this, but the people pushing the buttons and making these decisions, they're nowhere near these places. So it's a little worrisome, and I could see this being adjusted and changed and tweaked over time, because it seems like there could be some issues with crews running out of time with these trains, because that's all three of those trips are 300 miles, and it's not exactly a picnic, when you're taking a train that long of a trip.
Absolutely, and being stopped, delayed because of something in front of them. Oh, yeah. It could be long and tedious, so even 300 miles could take 12 hours, depending on the traffic.
No doubt. Yeah, no doubt.
I see it all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. And even like you're seeing it on NS with the trains coming from, that go from they go from the East Coast to Chicago, and like I'll watch how long they take from like Horseshoe Curve to where I'm sitting tonight in like Macedonia or Hudson. Yeah. And they take a good 7-8 hours. Even those are the guys with the UPS traffic on them. So, it's quite a trip for these trains to make those moves and run under the hours of service. So it's not like just jump into your car and you just hit the gas and go. So you got to plan for a lot of things that you don't expect. So you might have to, like you said, get delayed because of maintenance, or there could be trains crossing over in front of you, or there's a lot of things can happen out on the railroad. So we'll keep an eye on this, Mike, because I wonder if in 6 months to a year we're not seeing things tweaked again with this whole thing.
Wow, interesting. Very interesting. So, all right, okay, where are we at now, though?
So let's go to we'll go to the other side of the country here. Another intermodal train topic. This was in June, a few days ago. There was a good post on train orders. A guy called Map Boy had a really good post. He goes, I want to see where the railroads were traffic-wise in this uncertain economy, tariffs affecting the international imports, which affects the U.S. eastbound intermodal traffic. And so he was going through some reports and some different weekly rail traffic stuff on the AAR website, and he was showing the 22nd week of the year that intermodal traffic bottomed out, partially due to Memorial Day, and then from June 3rd to June 9th, it seemed like it was down a little bit from last year. But this year, overall, it's up a little bit. But it seems like this year it seems like the trains are a little bit longer. Then he was talking about, he was out at I think it's called Cajon Pass, a popular rail fan mecca in California. And he was saying that the eastbounds don't seem like they're too late there because they haven't been delayed too much because they just left their destinations. But he said congestion is common there on Cajon Pass because the trains are running these crazy loops and routes because they're trying to get over the mountains there. And he's just saying that there's a lot of complications with it. Some of these trains are getting annulled, and what's really happening is there's sometimes because the traffic is down. He's saying a lot of it is because trains are getting annulled, and it kind of goes back to what we just talked about with CSX, Mike, these railroads are all trying to use fewer crews, and I just don't know if that's the right answer. I mean, I know there's
that's not an answer.
I agree.
I don't think that's an answer.
No, I think it's a bad answer. And I think what's going to happen is you're going to wear these guys out. And the other problem is, too, what I've been seeing a lot lately, Mike, is, I hear sometimes the Cleveland East dispatcher, and this is just jumping off topic from what this guy was saying, but the dispatcher will say, hey, you're going to get into Conway, your crew's called for 5 o'clock time, let's say. and it's like 2, and the train's by Hudson or Macedonia or wherever, and they get there and they still have a few hours to work. Well, they have them go out and go get another train, or they send them out into Shire Oaks or some other place, to bring a train up to Conway or whatever. So
yeah,
they're really running these guys into I don't want to say they're running them into the ground, but they're using these guys for the full day. And if they're not making the money that the previous generations were making, I see why it's not a very desirable job, because you're just wearing some of these guys out, and especially if you're not really into the railroad, it's a tough line of work. And I don't know. I just think that's part of the reason too. It's hurting traffic, because if trains are sitting, where's it going?
Wow, yeah. You telling where that's gonna go like that. I mean, geez. Oh wow. So
yeah, it's that's an interesting thing. It just seems like there's just a lot of things that are I just don't understand where some of the decision making is on these railroads, and that kind of leads me into my next story. A few months ago, I thought Bill Ensinger did a really nice job. He brought on some great content about Amtrak and stuff.
okay, we're talking about the Gulf coastline now, right?
Yeah, there's a couple different stories with
Sure.
Amtrak. Yeah, I was going to bring up 2 of them. One was a good one, and then one was kind of a negative one. Let's start with the Gulf Coast one.
Sure.
They are going back to the Gulf Coast for the first time in 20 years. So they're going to be operating trains between Mobile, Alabama, and New Orleans. They're calling the train the Mardi Gras.
Oh, really?
Yep. This is what article in the Progressive Railroading website says. Hurricane Katrina knocked out service in 2005, and they're going to be able to have same-day connections in both directions, to go either to Jackson, Mississippi, or Memphis on the City of New Orleans train, or next-day connections to go on the Crescent to New York City or Atlanta or anywhere in the Southeast, or on the Sunset Limited going out west towards Texas and L.A. So I guess the inaugural train is going to start on the 16th. A schedule and other details will be released later this month. It wouldn't be possible without the leadership of federal, state, and local partners, said Joe Heinrichs, the CEO of CSX, the host railroad for Amtrak's Mardi Gras service. So, let's see where it goes, Mike.
Absolutely.
I think it's a good idea. I think it was way too long that they didn't have a train in this area, because that's a popular tourist area down there on the Gulf Coast.
Yeah, especially New Orleans. Yeah, people want to go to the Mardi Gras, have a good time. Absolutely.
No doubt. And even that area like Biloxi, Mississippi, across to Alabama there, where a lot of people go, and they go spend, time at the casinos there and the beaches.
Yeah.
So it's a great place to go down there, especially in the winter time. I think it's a very nice place to go. The other Amtrak story was one from Train Orders. It actually was taken from a trains.com article. The poster, his name is Gene Poon, and Gene Poon is a big Amtrak guy. He posts a lot of Amtrak content on Train Orders. I guess there was 16 treated for some kind of heat-related issues, and 4 people were hospitalized after the train was stopped for mechanical issues. This was in Nassau County, Florida, a little bit north of Jacksonville. And this was on the infamous Floridian train, which it seems like, Mike, ever since this train started, this train's had nothing but problems. It's 10 to 12 hours late coming west through Pittsburgh and Ohio most days.
Yeah, in fact, a couple of them coming up here were late, though, coming from that area, I believe.
Yep. So
Yeah.
this was the eastbound, which turns into a southbound when it gets over by D.C.
Mm-hmm.
And then this train, like I said, I mean, the train had lost all of its power, knocking out the air conditioning. There was a mother that said one of her boys was receiving medical attention for heat exhaustion. I guess they couldn't really do much to the train was basically couldn't move, I guess, because of all these issues they were having.
Wow.
The temperature on board was over 120 degrees.
Ouch.
Yeah, I mean, really, really bad situation here. I guess there were 174 customers boarded the bus. 72 stayed on the train. And people are just saying, what was the responsibility of Amtrak, in this? And then, people are just saying, I cannot believe, I mean, it's amazing to think that, this was allowed. But people are saying where this happened, it was in a bad location, between Folkestone and, between Folkestone, Georgia and Jacksonville, kind of in the middle of nowhere. There's really not many places they could take in this train to, because if they went to, I guess Hilliard, Florida, where the rescue took place, and I guess if they reversed the train to Jessup, Georgia, it would have been a real slow process. They could not have detoured at the Waycross because the Amtrak crew is not qualified to Waycross, because I don't think they run any passenger trains to Waycross. It's all CSX traffic over there. So, I don't know why they didn't have more people get involved, from Jacksonville and get up there. I don't know. This seems like a colossal meltdown, that was, they're saying that the engine 301 is one of those Siemens Chargers engines.
Yeah.
And that was part of the big issue with this. I just think it's it just doesn't make sense to me that how this could happen. But if I was Amtrak, Mike, I think I'd cancel this Floridian train and just go back to what they had before, because that train is having nothing but problems.
Yeah, maybe they were better off. Wow. Wow. Anyway, hey, we're going on about 26 minutes, so let's move along here.
Yeah. So that's yep. So that was a big story. Probably the only other. I'll give you a couple quick stories here. CN got about 88 million in capital work to increase infrastructure and track maintenance in Louisiana, expand capacity in New Orleans, and at the Gazemeyer rail yard, and also in Iowa, they're going to upgrade track on the Osage subdivision near Cedar Rapids. So that'll be a good thing to do. CN, obviously it's a big system that goes all over North America, and good to see they're committed to areas where there's probably not as much traffic, but they maybe feel like they can grow it. And the other story was R.J. Coleman. The railroad group has selected Justin Broyles to serve as interim president and CEO. The previous president resigned. I guess he's got almost 25 years of experience in the rail industry, and he's going to take over R.J. Coleman. They're big with they have a lot of short lines they operate. They do a lot of work with derailments happen and stuff. So good to see a guy be able to get a promotion like this.
Wow. Ain't that something?
Yep, absolutely. Yep, it's good for him. I'm glad to see that.
Yeah, I'd say. Absolutely. That's
pretty much. I think that's about what I've got here. That's pretty much all I've got for this week. Yeah, I mean a lot of big stories on CSX there, and just like I said, I went to Berea. Actually, got to Berea the other day. The traffic was pretty good. It's slow. Berea slows down a little bit, in the evening after dinner, but yeah, it was good to get back out there. Really enjoy that spot a lot.
Well, that's good.
And it's I actually saw a lot of CSX trains, and it'll be interesting to see how this new flow, how the new traffic flow with the crew changes at Collinwood and with these intermodal trains, how that works, and how trains will flow through that single track area like over by the Kingsman area in Cleveland. So that'll be something to keep an eye on going forward.
Absolutely, though. Oh, Kingsman, yeah, that's a rough neighborhood over there, buddy.
Yes, it is. Yeah,
where the tunnels go through there. Oh, geez, you talk about hoods. Woo!
Yeah,
you don't
you gotta
dare go in that neighborhood not being armed like I usually am. I'm only one that was there once.
Yeah,
and I seen the riff-raff there, and good thing I was armed. And I had my buddy there armed too, so.
Yeah, that's probably why the people, that's probably why they have the tunnels there, so the trains can run underground there.
I don't know what the situation was, though, but they look like they've been there a while, so.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Not an area that I've ever been to and probably never will go to, but that's a single-track bottleneck there at times on CSX.
It is.
There, but,
absolutely.
But, so it'll be interesting to see how that flow of traffic works with the trains recrewing there at Collinwood now with these intermodal trains. So that'll be something to keep an eye on. And, just, like I said, this time of year, definitely a lot of track maintenance going on. I've noticed here on NS a lot of tie projects, out here towards Hudson.
They're doing it up here, too. The Cleveland line, they're putting new rail in pretty quick here, unless they already have done it already. Possibly they did.
That.
Huh?
I heard about that.
Yeah, they put new rail in. So.
Okay.
Anyway, we're at beyond 30 minutes, so any final thoughts or anything?
No, I think we'll just wrap it up, man, and, appreciate you having me on, and talk to you in a few weeks again, and good to get back on and, talk about some big topics here in the rail industry.
Okay, well, I'm going to have to meet up with you over there around Hudson or Macedonia or somewhere real soon, so I got to get more video content, though, to put up, though, and right now I'm pulling tooth and nail.
I'll definitely let you know when a good time is to meet up for sure. Yeah, definitely a lot of trains to see around here, and definitely plenty of good spots to do it at.
Okay, very good, Dave. And once again, though, Parker Daly, I hope you enjoyed this. So he's listening tonight. So you like his videos? So I do too.
Yeah, they're very good. Yeah, and shout out to anyone else who listened. I know some of the other people who I've talked to recently, like guys that I stay in touch with through different railroad message boards and different websites, guys that are on train orders and stuff, and they listen, all over the country, guys that really know their stuff too, guys like Joel Gilmore, some other guys that, work in the rail industry as well, that give me some content and stuff, and thanks to that CSX source, she had some great information there about the crew there on CSX. So appreciate the time, Mike, and you have a good night and a good rest of your show, too.
Okay, Dave, thanks, so, and it looks like we'll be back here August 2nd.
Perfect. Sounds good, man. I'll talk to you then. Hope to see you before then, too, out at the tracks and doing some rail fanning.
Okay, absolutely. All righty, Dave, thanks a lot.
Yep, have a good night, Mike.
Okay, well, that was David Coleman from, well, I guess it's actually pronounced Stow, Ohio. I call it Stow. Either way, most of the people around here know what I'm referring to. So, also check out CSX Ohio Railfan Plus, Parker Daly. Though I was with him today down in Creston. So, anyway, with that though, that's enough out of me for this edition of Railroad Talk. So.